Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh my God.
Good.
Hold up. Right on time.
Right on time. The bus had made it on time, I guess.
Oh my God.
Buenos dias, buenas noches, buenas tardes to everybody. How is everybody doing today?
Oh my God. We are busy.
I'm out here trying to be fashionably late, yo.
I know. You want to be French, right?
Brother, there's no red carpets out here. Nah, we ain't
Yeah.
having that.
For the first time, I gotta say, for the first time in a really long time, I did not want to get up today.
Really?
Okay. All right, I'll take that.
Oh my God.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I mean,
well, the rain and all that. Yeah, of course.
You know what it was? Honestly, I mean, yeah, that too. That always plays a role, but it's just, like as you guys know, I get up every day in the morning, usually. So I'm working out about 6 times a week. But today, I woke up at 6:30 and I was like, nope, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Freaking birds at 5 o'clock, they start. Yep.
I know. I'm harboring pets over here.
And so I'm okay, I think it's cute and stuff. But this morning I was like, no, guys, just like, please.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just for tonight.
And I have this problem. I just wake up and I'm like, damn, I want to go back to sleep, but I can't. Can't. So I'm like aimlessly looking at television or aimlessly doing something different. And I'm, oh my God, the day got to end.
I don't want to watch television. I don't want to watch TV when I can't fall back asleep. Definitely not.
Supposedly they say you shouldn't be watching TV, especially when you're trying to go to bed like an hour or maybe 2 hours before, because of the lighting that you're getting from the TV. Naturally, it just makes you want to stay awake longer.
Yeah.
But,
supposedly.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Just like coffee, it gives me the opposite effect. I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Really? You know what's funny? I used to drink a lot of coffee, but then I stopped. I went cold turkey for a while. But now, if it's true, if I drink coffee after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not going to bed early at all.
Really?
Oh my God.
No.
Okay.
Oh my God. But it's, Don always tells me, it's like we go to places real quick. It's like, are you gonna have some espressos at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon? And it's like, are you having espressos? It's like, yeah, I'll get one. It doesn't matter. You're gonna go to sleep anyways. I'll be really? And she's right. I'll knock out.
Yeah.
Knock out
No,
nobody.
listen, that.
But
I guess everybody
overall,
has a different effect.
Absolutely. But overall, man, it's times like this when you're feeling complacent, when you're feeling, energetic, when you're feeling that you either need to go somewhere or you just want to stay in bed for a day or two. It's times like this that I think that we all need to look at our business, or at least look at how the market is doing. And mid-year review is a great time for us to actually see how this market is doing. I tell you right now, it's different. We actually had this conversation during, a couple of days back, and I feel like we all have a different aspect. Anybody who's listening to this will have the different aspects today. So if you're listening, you want to chime in with us, you want to let us know exactly how your market is doing or how the market is treating you.
And how is your business doing? How it's most importantly. Yes.
Absolutely. And and how your business is doing, let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all running through the same scenario of real estate, but we're not all resulting on the same scenario of real estate. So it's a different aspect for all of us. So, let's kick it off. Gigi, what do you think?
First of all, let's take a look at the year and the last 6 months. As I took on managing and stuff like that, of course, my job is to make sure that we don't fall back, as Office says. So that's good. Usually, problem solved is with recruiting more talent, right? Which is always a good thing. And then the right talent as well. I call you guys agents talents because you are my clients now. I shifted my focus from sellers to agents. And so it requires us to roll our sleeves and get on the phone a little bit more and be a little bit more social and do a lot of networking and calling back our database and so on and so forth. I've seen a lot of resistance with that. And then, a lot of the times the proof is in the pudding. So agents are like, okay, you're right. Let me call back. I contacted those people, didn't speak to them in 6 months. And all of a sudden I got this, they told me their cousin, this, that. They were telling me they're glad I called them. I'm like, okay, it works. So the thing is, as we've been saying for a year, let's go back to the basics. And it really, really, really does work. That's going to help you weather that storm 100%. I've been doing more networking. Like yesterday, I went to a nice paid networking event at Kaizen in Flushing. Like lovely sushi, caviar, sake, good stuff. But met fantastic professionals. I think.
Where was my invitation?
Well, the invitation I had to pay. It was $165 a pop. So I had to pay. I know. And but I'm saying we don't have to spend that much money all the time.
Correct.
But the fact that we can sometimes like invest in ourselves a little bit. I want to, like, you always need to freshen up your list of affiliates. I think it's very important to have like a set of para real estate professionals and real estate professionals that can help you in your business. We always need, I made some contacts with people that install doors and windows. The crystal guys, like those guys in Flushing. I met with people that are just doing moldings for commercials and stuff like that. I met the guys from Royal Garbage Disposal. What you think it's really like might not be important, but we need to have those guys in our roster.
Yeah.
Right? We need to interior designers, developers, architect. I met a new architect expediter right in Corona. The guy just moved back to Corona, like young guy, and he's like your Ed's age, about 35. So I'm like, this is good. This is new blood, because sometimes the people we use are so busy.
I agree.
We've been referring them so many times, and they're so busy that we need to recycle and stuff like that. So yes, working on your database of vendors and soliciting those vendors. You pat my back, I pat yours, right? And that's also, and it's very good. I've seen, like, I got some nice contacts out of that. The last event last week I went to got a seller's referral in Bayside.
Beautiful.
Got an agent who wants to actually discuss changing brokerage. Why not? So get out there, be more social, talk to people, the mayor of the town, the mayor of your little group. People need to know,
No, I agree with
you.
Yeah.
And I think go ahead, bro.
Go ahead. No, please go.
So I like the fact that we had this conversation earlier in the week, because it's true, and something that we usually, I think when I say we, I mean all of us. Something that we usually don't do is that we don't refer back to the goals that we created in December of last year. So the other reason why we wanted to kind of bring this up now is because, you know what, we're 6 months in. Like, we're already entering the third quarter. We're going into the summer market. There's a lot of changes that have occurred. Interest rates are through the roof. People don't know if they do want to keep buying, not keep buying. So the whole purpose of this was for us to come together. And as Israel said earlier, let's chime in. Let's leave some comments. Let's have a discussion on what we're experiencing in the market. We may be experiencing the same things. We may be experiencing different things. But
or a mix of both. Yeah.
The whole key for today is for us to really go back. Like, I really want you guys that are tuning in to go back to the goals that you drafted. If you attended our course in December of last year.
That's what I'm saying. If you did, I'm going to also say, as I did the switch in brokerage and just, of course, talking to all agents, everybody, even 7-figure GCI agents, I've noticed a lot of them do not have a business plan in place. It's amazing to me to be functioning at such a high level without a business plan.
Like, think about it, right? You go to IKEA. You know that you buy furniture there. You're going to be the one assembling it. What if you get home and realize the instruction manual is missing.
Oh, nice
right?
analogy.
So what are you gonna do? You're just gonna say, whatever. I've done this before. Let me just slap some pieces of compressed cardboard and build this cabinet. Right? It's not gonna occur that way. Why? Because it's intricate. There's these little pieces that have to go in, and you got to make sure you line everything up, and it's crazy, right? But you're not gonna build that without a manual. So how can you possibly go and build your business without sitting down, going through the numbers and tracking your business? So the whole point of today is, like we just finished stating, is, hey, go back into your dusty folder and pull out that business plan that you drafted up, that you spend 3 hours at a location trying to figure out what your numbers are going to be for 2023.
Yeah.
Right? So let's look through that. Let's kind of go through it, because at the end of the day, if you've been tracking your numbers and if you've been, I guess, feet on the ground, and you've been running since the beginning of the year, then chances are you're probably having a pretty good year.
Yeah. If you keep track with the the number of contacts you make per day, if you still have a plan, if you still practicing your script, if you actually doing the activities that are producing dollars, that are allowing you to meet buyers and sellers, then you're on track. Yeah. If you still don't know how many people you need to talk to, then we need to have a talk. We definitely need to have a talk.
Yeah. And have confidence in what you wrote down, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I wrote down, I'll be real with you guys. I wrote down I wanted to make $200,000 since 2 years ago. Just because I didn't hit it last year doesn't mean forget this, I'm done with this. No. You reevaluate, right? And full disclosure, and I'm excited about this because, guys, and I'm not saying this to gloat. I'm just saying this because at the end of the day, anybody can do it. If one person can do this, if two people can do it, you can do it too. The only difference is that you have to be committed. You have to be willing to wake up even when you don't want to put in the work that you don't want to put in.
Yeah, just like the gym. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So like I said, like if for me, for example, and again, I'll tell you guys straight up because I'm excited about that. Anybody can happen, but my goal right now was to put in as much work possible. That number is the number I'm trying to hit, and whatever. I'm excited about it, but come September, like from what I've tracked, I'm going to be well over 100K in gross commission income. It's not like, 100K and then I'm paying out the broker and then I'm paying. No, it's like already numbers drafted up. This is what I'm taking home. You know what I mean? And that's come September. Like there's still an opportunity for me to still put in the work to close out the year strong.
Right.
But how would I do that if I didn't have my manual or my script or my goals from last year? If they're not in front of us, if they're not constantly in front of me, how can I possibly achieve that goal if I don't keep that in front of me?
And you also have, and we talk about it a lot, you also have someone to keep you accountable.
Yes. If
you have that support
single out there, go get married.
No, no, I am single, but look, it's not about that. It's having a professional support system if you need one. It's having a personal support system if you're lucky enough to have one. And I think it's like for me, in that 6 months that I've been with that company, I've been able to achieve our yearly goal in that amount in half the time. Maybe because the company goals were not high enough. Or it's just because we've been churning at what we were supposed to do and it just happened to work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we do a lot, we do a lot. It's not only just like I don't want to talk about the model or anything, but it's like I still want to be implementing some stuff where we give out a lot of opportunities for our agents to do more business, and it has nothing to do with the brand, nothing. It's how you position yourself as what is called a leader, and help out your people in the effort in production, in their effort in prospecting and being known in their area of work. So it has nothing to do with the brand. Absolutely nothing.
So it's interesting that you mentioned the networking event that you went to yesterday. I actually went to a training event in Melville, ran into your homegirl, Valerie.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw the
Yeah,
photos.
I
Yes.
took a picture
Yeah.
with her.
She wanted me to do it, but you see, like yesterday, I also had, and I had it planned for a while now with Long Island Board of Realtor with Lorraine Collins, and I wanted to make sure you see how MLS has been cracking down, and we have those fines, and they keep on increasing. So I wanted to make sure I had my whole team and beyond and the other offices within our brokerage that could participate, and we just could turn that down. So incidentally, I heard of this event like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I can't, it's really tough. Yeah, I wish it would have been a great thing.
Let me tell you, it was a really good event.
Yeah,
it was a really good event. I got a lot of good nuggets out of it. But one thing that resonated, and I got my notes here, one thing that resonated was when they had mentioned that for you to make 200, this is crazy, for you to make $250,000 a year, mind you, this is not a New York market. This is a market elsewhere, like in Washington State, right? But the way they had it calculated was if you can literally book 2 appointments a day, that's 10 appointments a week.
Yeah.
And that should yield you $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
In New York, if our average sale prices are $500,000,
which is higher than that, yeah,
you don't need that much. However, you should still put in the 2 to 10 so that you know how much you can potentially yield by the end of the year. Now, clearly, it all depends on your price point, your average price point, right? Like if you're selling co-ops and average price point are 300, 400,000, I mean, that's still a big chunk of change. But if you're jumping into the market with single family, multifamily, that could be potentially anywhere between 700 to over $1 million. So it can happen a lot quicker. But that was something that yielded my mind, right? Like if you sit there and think about it, if you go back to your calendar and you look over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks of your calendar, right? Was there actually 10 appointments? If you're looking back three weeks,
it's always the same thing. Yes. What is your right? Yeah. How active are you? Yeah.
So that's what it always comes down to. Now, we are in a time and age where we're just constantly busy. And that's what we say, right? Like we're so busy being busy. If you're a real estate agent, you're busy. That's what everybody says. In my opinion, I think that we're just not managing our time accordingly because
oh God,
I know that there's a lot of free time that we have. Like, I don't care how busy you think you are actually more free than you think you are. Right. And that's why we've mentioned it before. And I know a lot of you folks that tune in maybe haven't done it yet, but time management is key for that. Because if you're not managing your schedule, then you're running around like a chicken with your head chopped off.
I guess you guys hear me say that all the time, because being undiagnosed ADHD, I know that this is a challenge. So I've been that calendar is always, I mean, I rely on it like my breath, it is extremely important. And yes, once you have things planified, once you know like certain things you do every week at the same time, you'll find time to actually add appointments and meet people. And it could be solicitation, it could be door knocking. The days are lovely right now. You know how you could meet, you could invite people to put some events together. We're putting this great little home buyer fair just to kick the summer in Corona tomorrow. We're expecting several hundred people. It's a group effort. I'm not saying it's only 2 of us like putting it together, Israel and I. It's like 30 agents. We're all gonna, we have vendors, we have stuff. It's a whole group effort. And we're just gonna be out there talking to the public. And I think those 4 hours are gonna be very beneficial for everybody.
Hell yeah. But the key is how are you going to ask those questions, or how are you going to engage in conversation, right? Because that's what it comes down to. Like, it's practice. The agents will have a little script that was modified. It's nothing, because they're going to be asking questions. Some people will be just curious. We're just going to figure out how far along in purchasing a
a house, or what dream do they have, when do they think they can afford it. We'll just poke at people, open up some question, see if there is any particular vendor they would be interested in meeting, and if they don't, we'll just introduce them to everybody. We'll make sure they put their name in a little bucket, and make sure they win a prize at the end of the afternoon. Go back out with a couple of empanadas and a soda and a face paint for the children. Why not?
Why not? People like little things like that. It's always the little things that are important, Yeah. But and one thing I did want to share with you guys is, and I've always wanted to do this, but I never knew where to start. I've always wanted to do this and felt like I didn't have enough clients. But something that they mentioned, which we should have done, and I know
client appreciation party.
Yes. Sherry was really good at that.
And you know what? You don't have to have a lot of clients. It could be a small 10 people event. We've been talking about, I know people, I'm surprised that, I'm glad you're coming to having this epiphany, because it doesn't require, you don't have to have an elaborate event. It could be a small intimate thing.
Correct.
You guys can share a couple of beers over in a bar. You just say, here, I reserve that corner. We have 10 seats. Please come on in.
Yeah. 100%. So it's funny because he mentioned that, and he said you should have 4 client events each year. And you actually, I guess you would set it up and reach out to everybody 3 weeks before the event.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do a month, you could do more, but just no less than 3 weeks ahead of notice. So again, it's just little things that little nuggets came across. But to your point, it's true. These are what we would call cherry on tops, right? This is what this would become. Like, we're calling it a cherry on top. Like, you're already doing the work that you're doing to generate the business that you're getting now. These are things that you can do on top of that to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this. If you're not that social of a person, you got to find your niche. We all have to understand who we are, what our personality is, what makes us tick, what drives us into the business. It does not, because, and I don't want to put down any of those trainers. And I do because I'm a little bit older, and I'm realizing now, not everybody's like me. Not everybody's going to be as outgoing and flamboyant and crazy and loud as I am. And not everybody is going to respond the same way. So you don't have to be the mayor of your town. You can do other things. You don't have to be a networker. I have some agents in our Jackson Heights office that are just going around the same little neighborhood for the last 25 years and making that 7-figure GCI.
Yeah.
Being a top agent in the state. Not shy. There is no real conversation with them. They're not gonna, yak their head off. They just, having their little flyers, talking to the neighbors. They don't talk, but they're very comfortable with their farm area.
Mm-hmm.
And they're excelling at it. And if it works, it works.
I have a funny question for you guys. How far are you willing to drive for a listing?
Without referring it out?
Without referring it out, you taking on that listing.
An hour?
Israel, how far would you go?
I wouldn't even. We've done it. We've done it. An hour could be difficult. I'd like to have it. Yeah, I'll take it if I have a possibility of putting a lockbox. Yeah.
Okay. How far would you go?
Let's see. How far have I gone?
It depends.
I would say for me, it'd be like the middle of Suffolk puts you about an hour and a half.
Too far for me to wait.
And then I've gone up to White Plains. So yeah, I've gone a little further than that. So I would say about an hour and a half. So if it makes sense. Yeah, 2 hours if it makes sense. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. For me, if it involves crossing a bridge, I'm not going.
Are you serious?
But see now I'm glad you said that.
Island, I'm not going.
No.
I'm glad. Whoa, because I'm glad you said that. Because honestly, that's how I am too, right? And I've always said this to other agents too.
Yeah.
Once I hit that bridge, it's over. My car turns off. I'm not going
No,
anywhere.
guys,
Right?
if you're going to go,
That's my thing, right? Because even Farmingdale is another area. My car doesn't go any further. Like, it has a shut off switch. It just shuts off.
Farmingdale is a shut off.
The moment it hits that, because the gases you're going out there, the time that you're spending out there, the things. These are things, and what I realized, the 3 hours you're traveling is 3 hours that you could do so many different things, right? But
you wouldn't get a listing in Throgs Neck. It's right over the Whitestone.
Throgs Neck is a nice area, but
it's a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive. You wouldn't do it.
For me, it's probably a 20-minute drive. Huh? Closer.
Yeah, it's not that far for me either.
But it's 20 minutes on a good day.
That's one point.
It's an hour.
And the tolls. Now, I've actually had listings in the Bronx a couple times here and there. Showings here and there. I had to cluster those showings. Mm-hmm. But it's the difference between having to cluster those showings versus if you're here in your own neighborhood, you could do showings different times, right? I mean, you could still cluster, but you could do it different time because you're more flexible.
Correct.
If I have to go to point A to point G or point Z, then my time has to be very valuable when I get out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Also, it depends. It has to be priced right. Access has to be there as well. You have, not only by appointment with the listing agent, it has to be a lot of factors, and where it's easy to show for the other brokers and the public.
So this came up at yesterday's event, and he asked everybody, how far are you willing to go? Ultimately, at the end of the day, he tells a story about his son. His son got into real estate about 2 years ago, been like diligent with the coaching programs that they had, killing it. This kid is killing it. He made I think he made like $500,000 in his second year. He takes listings where the commissions are like 7-8%. He pays out 2% to his brokerage. He walks away 5% commission in his pocket every single time. This man, or young man, should I say, drove from Washington State to another part. But in Washington, they have these, I guess, like mountain roads.
Right.
So when it snows, they shut down the roads.
So he used a Sherpa. That's what you're saying.
What this guy did was, from what he said was, he drove. Because they shut down the roads, 9 hours. He drove 9.5 hours to get to the listing. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But the whole point of this story was that if you're licensed there, he said, you should go there. Now, the state of New York is big. I'm talking about, like, if we were driving from New York City, Long Island, all the way to the end of New York State, where Canada begins, that's like 9 hours by itself.
Do you think that's a good service to the client, to the seller?
That's where
I don't necessarily agree. It's like, I understand we can sell anywhere, but why not use the power of a network?
Yeah, I agree.
But you know what, G? So that's a controversial thing, right? So think about what you just said. Is that a good service to the client or customer, right? We just spoke about Throgs Neck, which is 15-20 minutes away from us, but is that an area that we really know? Or could we have someone who
exactly
really knows
that's what I'm saying? It all depends. Yeah. It all depends. So many factors in place. Mm-hmm. There are some areas I do not know, like Farmingdale. Definitely don't know.
Right.
I would refer it out.
I'll just refer it out.
Yeah. So because for us, for example, like, it's different, right? Like for someone to drive an hour in like Florida, it's because you're driving almost 60 miles. For us to drive in New York City an hour, it's because you're going from borderline Nassau County to Queens.
Even Coney Island, I would think of.
I would not even anything.
I've done Marine Park, but I would refer out Coney Island. And further Bensonhurst, whatever, because it's so far.
I drove during not even like prime time hours, I guess, to go to like the end of Brooklyn where you can see like the tip of Manhattan, like the lower Manhattan and the Statue of Liberty. It took us almost an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah, you know what's amazing? What we're talking about right now is like the experience that we have, right? So a lot of new agents that we collectively know, right, have actually gone 2-3 hours for a sale. And we just talked about the average of 300, 200, whatever the case may be, and these average sales were below that.
Yeah.
And if you think about the 4 or 5 hours that they drove in, or the 3 hours that they drove just to get that particular commission or whatever the case may be, the thing that ended up after that, and that's another thing that we, to look at too, is they actually have received referrals after that sale. They've received, pretty much a building a team bigger than that.
Yeah.
And I speak to them, and they've done a lot of different things outside of the idea of actually having to go there 3-4 hours or whatever to sell that particular home or help that buyers buy that home. It's to them, look, I'm happy that you did it, but I just cannot, I can't do it.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, do what you got to do to take on.
But let's not digress. Let's go back over because I know there is a lot of things. I'm sure yesterday you're excited. It was an event. It looks like again, ultimately the person that was speaking there is looking to sell their coaching program, right? So
like everyone else.
I don't want to demean anyone, but I'm sure they were. I hope they were excellent at bringing a lot of happiness and excitement into your heart that you would want to maybe go up to Washington and get his coaching. I mean,
hell no.
No, but I don't know. I mean, but this is.
I will say, look, we've seen a lot of coaches come through, and we're not going to spend a lot more time on that, but you know, we've seen coaches come through. Look, at the end of the day, if you feel that the person that you're engaging with is going to help you get to the next level, then cool. If you feel that they're not, then hey, maybe they're not the right one for you. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's interesting because these little things, and to your point, Gigi, sometimes we've mentioned it. Like, how many times have we said it in the past to someone and it didn't click, and then they hear from some other person with an accent, and then all of a sudden it clicks. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting how life is, but it's true when it's meant to be. And we've heard it before. Like, when the student is finally ready, the teacher will appear. So those are those moments where it's like, oh my God, that made sense. And someone else says, yo, you know how many times I've said that to you in the past?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But which shows okay, did you have a business plan? Did you look it over? Did you do the activities you said you were going to do? Did you modify it? Did you go back over it, to check it and see what needed to be changed and tweaked? And if not, like we said, let's dust it back. Let's take it back from this drawer. Let's take a look at it. Let's see where we are at. Let's see what we need to do for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Agreed.
Let's try to remove the emotions of this market out of the equation, which is a hard thing to do.
I mean, and what's really important, if you're going to do that, to know whether or not you need to pivot your business, because that's really where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Have you made the goals by which you needed to do within 6 months, and where do you need to pivot is really this next 6 months going to look for you.
Yeah.
Great way. I mean, I've actually had a conversation yesterday with someone and a couple other people as well. And they actually asked the same questions the same way I would have just said right now, which is, what am I doing? What am I not doing? What should I do? And what am I going to do?
Right.
Okay. Like, what's working for me right now? What's been working so far?
What am I doing well? What's working?
Right. Right. Well, what's been working so far for me? What hasn't been working for me so far? Right. Is this been working so far? Great. What am I going to do? What should I be doing? What should I do to make sure that this next 6 months is going to happen for me? And then what am I going to do? And then when you create that goal, one of the things that we've actually said over and over again at certain points is make sure, and at least I tend to use this a lot, is use the SMART goal version of that, right? It's actually the acronym of SMART goals. It's being specific about what you have to do. Make sure that it's measurable, make sure it's attainable, relatable, and time bound. So that if you're saying, hey, I want to make sure that I have at least 5 transactions, 3 contracts, hit 13 contacts per day, you're making sure that you're actually giving yourself a certain time frame. By the end of July, I want to make sure I have 2 contracts in. By the end of July, I want to make sure I have 8 open houses. By the end of July, I want to have, these are things that you are giving yourself as a goal to make sure you're improving your numbers. Yep. If you're not doing it and you feel like one thing's for sure, and I say this to a lot of people, is this: if you haven't made your goals, do not add on to the goals that you need to make on the next 6 months. Don't add on to it.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Right? Stop right there for a second.
Yeah.
Press the easy button, press the reset button for a second, and start all over. For just start at a certain point where it gets you to the level that you need to get to.
Yeah.
I've actually met a couple folks where it's actually, I had to do 2 transactions next month. Now this month I have to do 4. No. Be perfect. Be perfect and excellent in getting 2 contracts.
Let's keep
Be perfect. Be perfect and excellent about getting that. Because once you're able to get 2 easily, then you can start adding 3, then 4, then 5 contracts per month.
Yeah, but don't scramble. You're right. Don't scramble with stuff that you have not been accomplishing.
You're going to be that hamster wheel of yours is going to go fast, hard, and you're just going to go crazy.
Yeah.
We used the word earlier. You're going to sound like you're busy, but you're not really busy. Look at your numbers. Look at your time. Look at everything that you need to look at, because when you're saying what's working, what times have I been using? What's working? What sources have I been using? What's working? Who have I been talking to? What's working? Who do I have to become to become the person that I want to be?
It's all about being intentional, a little bit more intentional about our business.
Absolutely.
And this was my motto for the year, and I won't change it. It's because, let's face it, if we're going to talk about what our industry is going to look like the next 6 months, I don't think we're going to see much of a change. Those rates are still going to be high.
No.
The inventory is not going to open up. We're going to have some pockets of where there is too much inventory, like co-ops and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Houses, prices are still stable, but there's still a very high demand. So it's not going to, I don't think the next 6 months are going to change drastically. This is my take on it. Nothing until way in middle of next year.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert. I know. Yeah, I'm not an expert.
No, it's fine. That's your opinion. I'm good. I'm glad we're talking about this.
And you know what? Let's do the activity. Let's be a little bit more proactive into working on our crafts of being a salesman.
Yeah. Listen, there's people, and I've interacted, right? Like, how many times have we come across some of the associates that we know, different brokerages, other agents that we know, interacting, where it's like they didn't even kick off their business in January, right? And you guys know what I mean, right? Putting in the work. Like, this is what happens. We kind of get complacent. Closings are coming in. We already did the work. I'm taking off November, December. I still got closings coming up. That's phenomenal. But then January rolls around. And since you took off for 3 months, now you got to kickstart everything again. Now it's like, shit, I got to put stuff together, because if not.
Yeah, that was a French word, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah. Should I say it with a French accent? No. But that's what happens. And then what we don't realize is time is just flying by. So now we're 6 months in. And I've spoken to people like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to kickstart it now. But to your point, Gigi, what if that is the case? What if the market's about to slow down, right? And the people that were busy are now, they're getting their work in, they're doing their things because they've been consistent. But what about the individuals that took that break? And if you're saying that is going to re-kick up next year, it's going to be a cold season coming then.
Not necessarily. I think, like, to me, I'd rather say, okay, the state of the market, I'd rather see it to be a little bit worse than what it is, and make sure I stay on my toes and do what I got to do.
Yeah. Because
anyway, on the rainy days, you'll prevail, you'll survive. And on a great day, you'll be on top. And that's, it's like, when I'm saying survive, it's like within my goals, I still achieve my goals. And then on the great days, you'll go beyond. And that's going to be that easy button, but let's do the work when it's hard. So we make sure that we actually achieve our goals with the activity. This year has to be activity based. And if no one understood that yet, and it may not be too late, you're going to reap the benefits at the beginning of next year. And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but
I don't want to stay too long. It's already like 40 minutes.
That's fine. Yeah, that's
cute. And I think we got some good nuggets there. It's, like, be yourself, find your niche, And if you don't know, like, have conversations with your peers, have conversations with other agents that are your allies, that really want to see you succeed as much as they want to see themselves succeed. And I think those networking things are good as far as powwowing with your with people that are your friends in business, and find different ways. Not saying you have to help one another. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, so just make sure that when you're actually doing these networkings and everything else like that, keep in mind the 30 cups of coffee. Invite them for a coffee.
Yeah.
And then invite them and when you're discussing about your business and their business, just ask them, how can you help them build their business and how they can help you build yours. And this would be a great way for you
to do at Real Estate Unwrapped every week. How can we help each other building our business?
Yeah. And the only thing that I would say to you guys at this point is, if indeed, Gigi, if that is the case that we're running into, the only tip that I will give you right now is to try to, I guess, stay afloat. Is you need to generate a marketing campaign that's going to target your past clients so that they can refer business to you.
That's it. That's what it is. Yeah, that database
on
is
your
gold.
sphere of influence.
Database is gold. Yeah.
Because if the times do get tough, then you're going to have to rely on these individuals to then, hey,
Absolutely.
You know what? I do know about somebody that's thinking about selling or buying or whatever the case is. On top of what you're already doing, still be out there, still be productive, but just make sure that you utilize that, because these people that you've done work for, chances are you did a good job, and chances are they liked you. So chances are they're going to be your supporters and your number one cheerleader.
That is my business is at 100% that right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all it is. Because I dedicate my time to agents. My business, my real estate business in sales is just my sphere. And I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah. A lot of my business this past year was from referrals, strictly referrals, so it's something that'll help. It'll help propel you. But again, if you only rely on that, then chances are you'll run dry again. So the key is to stay consistent and go out there. You don't have to bombard your work schedule. I gotta get on the phone for 5 hours a day. I mean, hey, if you got the time for it, go for it, man. You're gonna come out winning, period. But funny enough, you don't really need 5 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like, if you really focused on that, maybe 2 hours a day, you'll be good.
All right, guys. Great nuggets, great content. Amrish, thank you for watching today. I got to shout out Amrish, and I think he's our MVP of the day.
Yeah.
Did he agree? He
agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I was scrambling. If you saw me with my head down, I was scrambling through all the different platforms.
I couldn't tell
who it was and where it was, because we've been streaming on 9 or 10 platforms. So yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. And again, the open houses.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be in East Elmhurst tomorrow, guys, from 12 to 1:30. So come by.
All right. Well, and pass by our Corona event, Ed. See what's up. It's going to be fun.
Snap. Let me see what's up.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
Right. Peace out.
Okay, guys. Have a good weekend.
Oh, Fernando Rios or something too.
Oh, Fernando.